Welcome to Unashamed Unafraid, a show unashamed about sexual addiction recovery and unafraid of coming into Christ for healing.
Where we talk about real recovery stories, answer anonymous questions with experts, and share resources that actually work.
I'm your host, Steve.
And I'm your co-host, James, and we are Unashamed Unafraid.
Really glad we found that Russian dude, James, and got that intro music.
It was so good.
So another year in the books. That's year number 4 in the books.
Good times.
Good times. So we have the entire crew here with us, with the exception, Rachel is not here with us.
No.
I'll let Sway talk about that.
Rachel is at home taking care of children.
Yes. So as you all know, babysitting during COVID times gets interesting to
Yeah, absolutely.
So we just wanted to just talk about a lot that happened this year. And I want to make sure that you guys hear from everyone, because this is like a lot of people do a lot. My heart is like full of gratitude sitting here with everyone, because I get the opportunity to see what everyone does. So I see the time and I know the efforts that everyone puts in. So some incredible people. So I am going to just kind of turn it over to them. So everyone, the question is for you is, how was your year this year? Outside of everything, just like what was being part of Unashamed this year? Like, what did that mean for you? And if you were to describe it using an animal, what would that be? And then tell everyone what your title is again and what you do here. Okay, so starting with the Hulk of Hope, Mr. Chris Bennett.
All right. Well, I'm glad you started with me because I have no idea what animal. I would say an elephant, because nobody wants to talk about the elephant in the room. But that's exactly what we're doing. We're talking about the elephant in the room. And just being a part of this and growing it to where we've got it right now, and watching it go from you coming to my house, Steve, and recording the very first one, sitting in my living room, taking your laptop out and no mics or anything, just saying, hey, let's record. And going from that 4 years ago to where we are now is just, it's awesome to watch us all change and how it's brought us closer together as a family. Just this group of guys that we got, plus Rachel, and it's amazing. It's so much fun to hang out with you guys, be able to take that time. And it's not like we talk every once in a while, only when we're recording. We are talking almost every single day in one way or another, sending each other some cool things, sending each other funny things, and it's just so fun. So,
in fact, Arizona Cory, we call him Arizona Cory because we have CT and Cory. He actually said to us once, he's like, I want you guys to know this is like one of the only group threads that I don't put on mute. And that meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
Your story.
I would never mute you guys.
Oh. Okay, Sway, we're coming to you.
Oh, man. All right. What are the questions again? Hit me.
What was it like being a part of Unashamed this year? And if you were to describe this year for you, participating in Unashamed, as an animal.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to think of an animal that acts this way, and I guess there's a lot of different groups of animals, but, just having a brotherhood and a team to be a part of.
A wolf pack.
A wolf pack. I thought of a lion pride, but yeah, I think wolf pack's pretty good too.
No, go ahead. Yeah. Why don't you tell him how he feels, James?
No, it was good. I need suggestions here. So, feeling like there's a way for me to contribute into recovery, right? I guess you could call it working step 12 or whatever you want to call it, but that's not it. It's about helping others find Christ and find recovery through Christ. And, early in the year, Steve, you and I had this conversation, right? And that's how this whole thing got rolling. That's why I'm here, right? Is we were just talking and I'm like, man, I want to give more and there's got to be a way. And just having that pack mentality has been awesome. Knowing that I've got other guys right around me. I mean, we just got back from hiking a couple weeks ago and that was awesome. Just having James and Chris around me, just kind of like cheering me on and saying like, you can do this when my chest is pinned between two gigantic walls.
And we're like pulling him through.
Yeah. Somebody's pushing, somebody's pulling.
It was awesome. And Chris got naked and swam in an icy cold little lake thingy. And
waterfall.
It was really funny.
That's more to be explored in bonus content at some time, I'm sure. But no, Sway, I will always remember the energy of our initial conversations of you jumping on board and being with us. And Sway does a lot of the website stuff. Anything that you see, that basically probably sums it up, that Sway's hand was on it. So if you've thought like, wow, their stuff doesn't look like a joke anymore, that would be Sway. So Sway's the man.
We're working on it. It's not perfect yet, but we're getting there.
Yep.
How about like how the penguins all huddle together? Is that
dude, he wants the lion pride.
Lion pride, okay? We're going with lion pride. All right? Back up.
I am a real boy.
You know what? Actually, my first thought was whale pod.
All right, so maybe we'll get followed by like Discovery Channel people after this. So, all right, Mr. James Nicholas Wilhite, 2020.
Yep, 2020. I was definitely an octopus this year because I had my hands in everything and everybody, trying to move things along on the show.
James did a lot of heavy lifting this year. There were several moments. I was going to say moments, days, months, where I'm like, "Hey, James, we're still rolling, right? We're going to post some episodes.
We still have a show, right?
We still have a show, right?" James is like, "Yep, we got it. We're moving." So, also to another very heavy lifter here, the Darth Vader of audio, Mr. Jason Null.
Yeah, that's me. I was going to go with grizzly bear. And it's more of like a feel thing than a real explanation. But it's just been such a big, huge part of my heart. It's like this really intense, angry is not the word. Just this intense, wild thing in my heart that
powerful.
It's grabbed on and hasn't let go. Just sunk its jaws into my heart. Is the only way I can really describe it. This podcast for me has been like, if you're Brene Brown, it's my creativity. If you're 12 Step, it's my 12th step. If you're Band of Brothers, hey, that's what I got. Like, this is such a big part of like who I am and who I am in my recovery that like, it's filling a lot of spaces for me. And so I was just thinking of like the biggest, toughest, meanest thing I could. And that's what came to mind. So,
Yeah. And, I'll give away a secret about, CT. Lionheart moved to Texas this year. And he had the audacity to actually ask me for real if he could still be a part of what we're doing. Like, as if that was even a question, CT. He's like covering his head in shame right now, which he should. So CT, 2020, being a part of Unashamed, he edits everything that you read. So all of when, right, we put stuff out, all the write-ups that we do and stuff. He's kind of building a little bit of a writing team now. That's a little inside nugget right there, but CT's taking care of it. So again, many hours on that. So CT 2020 this year, if it were an animal.
Well, Sway took mine because I was going to say cool cats and kittens, but that's not it. A lot of things happened this year that were, kind of trying. Moving to Texas and starting a new job in a pandemic is not the best way to live your life if you don't want an adventure in uncertainty. And buying a house without even walking through it is kind of scary as well. But I would say more Buffalo. And the reason being is one of my favorite sayings is it came to pass, because when there are trials in your life or hardships, it came to pass. And the reason why I bring up a Buffalo is a lot of times, but when storms roll in, Buffalo actually walk into the storm instead of away from the storm. And it's so that they can get through the storm quicker and be safe on the other side. So this year,
Love that.
it's very symbolic because I walked into the storm. I ran into the storm, actually, because there's a lot of things where I could have stayed where I was at with my job, but there was no sense of adventure anymore. I was stagnant. I was really bored, and I wouldn't have gotten fired. But this year, to be unashamed and unafraid, that's why I chose Buffalo.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Dude,
Awesome.
I love the Buffalo. That's awesome. And so CT's just like that. For you guys who I guess don't know him, a lot of people won't know listening to this, but Jason called me once early when he was rolling with us, and he because I believe everyone on our team has a superpower, at least one, if not multiple. And Jason's like, "What's CT's deal?" And I was like, "Have you ever called him when you're having a hard time?" And he's like, "No." And I'm like, "Why don't you go ahead and do that?" And it's a couple days later, and he called me back, and he's like, "Oh, I get it." And I was like, "Mm-hmm."
Yeah.
So when you talk about walking into the storm, I know no man more willing to do that, particularly for others, than Lionheart.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So our newest member, when were we sitting down for pizza, Corey? When was that? Or James, do you remember?
That would have been early July.
That's right.
First, second of July, somewhere in there this year.
Right. So the newest member of the Unashamed crew, Mr. Corey Emmett. So you didn't get a full year to make your animal selection. But what's it been for you being part of Unashamed 2020?
Well, it's been a very sweet experience. I'm gonna be at the other end of the spectrum. No wolves, no buffalo, no lions. I'm gonna choose a lamb. One of my strong suits is not meekness and humility, and that's what I see in a lamb. I can tell you that being a part of this process has afforded that opportunity. One of the portions that I take care of as part of Unashamed is the scholarships, and in particular awarding those. And I can tell you that reading those submissions and having to choose will certainly humble a person. It's very raw. I appreciate all of those submissions that we received this year, and prayed over each of them. We can talk a little bit more about that later, but I'm going with lamb.
Yeah, I love that. So that's the whole crew. So that's all 8 of us. And it's interesting because as we were just sitting down to record this, we were all sitting down and we were like, what episodes were this year? And we were like, that was this year? Like, we feel like we had a lot of good episodes this year. So I want to give everyone a chance just to step in, and just talk about what was like, in a sense or two, what was your favorite episode? Tell us why. Episode from 2020. And no, Jason, you can't pick your own story.
I'll go first. I really enjoyed Seth and Nicole's episode. I loved a lot of the things that they had to say. And not only that, I actually really enjoyed recording that night. I remember we were down in Kurt Frankham's basement, and we just the camaraderie and the brotherhood that we had there. It was
they drove down from Boise to record with us.
Yeah, and
Super
it was
cool.
kind of like right after everybody got out of quarantining in what was it, March or April, that we recorded it. And again, just the story was so touching and raw and real. So the whole experience for me was really cool.
Yeah, those are a couple unashamed folks right there, Seth and Nicole. And Nicole's actually our original outsider too. So shout out to Seth and Nicole.
I'll go. I really loved the disclosure with Stuart. We're talking with a lot of guys this year that are new into recovery, working through that and being able to have that to point them to has been awesome. And the benefits of disclosure, right? And getting honest, that has just been, something that just keeps rolling through my head all the time this year.
Mm-hmm. And Jeff, what a freaking baller.
Yeah.
Yeah, such a cool dude. If you haven't listened to that episode, please do.
Yep.
He's awesome.
Yeah, okay, I'll go. So I already had a personal connection with Dr. Skinner. And so having him on the show was kind of a surreal moment for me, just because he did so much to help me early on, way back when in my recovery. He's also just, he's awesome. His experience, his knowledge, he really, really laid it out. And the questions that were asked in that one were really intense. And I think he did a great job of answering them in a way that was enlightening.
That was a Q&A episode.
Yeah, it was a Q&A. So for sure. And I do want to say, like, just because I'm not picking like Seth and Nicole doesn't mean I didn't also love it. Cause like
so disclaimer, when we started, we all were like, well, this one, I'm like, everyone shut up. You got to pick one. So
mine were all taken. So
they're like, I've literally like forced everyone to like name one. I was all mean about it. So
for me, it was Joe and Amy. Those guys were amazing. I just felt like they are so well spoken when they were doing the podcast. They're totally unashamed and unafraid to share their story, to talk about the things that are hard in life, and they've just got a beautiful story in and of itself. And hearing Joe as he changed and what changed his life and brought him into actual recovery and sobriety was beautiful to me. Just sitting there watching it and being part of it and listening to their stories together. And Amy is just amazing as well and super strong. Both of them are just strong people, and I can listen to those guys every day.
And you've known those guys for years, right?
Many years, probably 13, 14 years now, I think.
Yeah.
14 years.
And here's how you know that their episode impacted all of us, because I know all of us could finish this in sync. Your worth is set, and everything else is just an experience. Yep. That's a quote of Amy's that we all say all the time. Your worth is set, and everything else is just an experience. So, love that. Love that one. Yeah.
And what's cool about that is Autumn listened to that episode, and she has talked to Amy. They had Amy on their podcast for Rise Up Restored, and Autumn actually shares that specific quote in her recovery group as well.
Oh, cool. Very, very cool.
I want to frame it.
Very, very cool. CT, favorite episode?
So I liked all of those, but I'm going to go with the do's and don'ts of disclosure, because I really liked some of the examples that people gave on there of how not to do it.
AKA Steve and Chris talking about their stories and how bad we muffed it on multiple occasions. Thanks, CT. No, Jeff had some good ones too.
And it just helps to know that we're not alone. We're not alone in making mistakes and all of that. I really appreciated, all the different examples of do's and don'ts of disclosing.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were going to do Michelle with Hope and Healing.
Well, okay. I like them all. What can I say? I'm kind of like...
James is giving him crap because he changed his mind like 6 times before he started. He's like, CT's like, I'll do this one. No, I'll do this one.
Hey, no, I'll do this one. What animals should he be, James? Why don't you just...
Chameleon.
Oh.
Okay. I blend into the background.
Oh, CT, you're the man. Yeah. That's actually interesting you bring that up, not feeling alone, because that was one of those, like, when we talk about it out loud, right? I mean, that's, I think, the goal of our podcast. When we talk about it out loud, you realize, a lot of people have done a lot of hard things, hard experiences, made mistakes, and they come out on the other end. It does happen all the time, every day. So, Cory, how about you?
I'm going to go with Chris and Marilyn. That was one that was just a month or two back. I really appreciated the hope that they both shared, being steeped in addiction for decades and decades. And then Chris talking about going to what we all pray was his rock bottom, and he and Marilyn still being able to come out on the other side with a lot of work and sharing that hope with the rest of us was, I saw a lot of parallels, and for myself found a lot of hope in their story.
Yeah. And that's one that sometimes I get like, I'm like, I've heard it all. No, I have not heard it all. And that was one after, even when we were sitting there with them, we're like, dude, you can't make this up. You could not fake miracles like that. You couldn't even think to make that up. And the humblest, coolest people, they were awesome to record with. And I agree with all of these. And for me, I'm also going to go with a choose 2 here, because this was a little bit different. Is 2 of my favorites were recording with Debbie Reed on a Q&A and recording with Becky Hennessy on our episode about betrayal trauma. And both of those, because these are people I already knew, and these were questions and topics I feel like I already had a ton of knowledge about, and was like, yeah, I get it. But being with both of them just in the studio and the energy that we had with them was totally, I feel like, as far as my personal growth and learning, those 2 episodes were the ones that were most mind-blowing for me. And I was surprised because I thought they would not be. But those ones were pretty big for me. So, Jason, why don't we turn over to you? So I've been feeling a little guilty. We've been a little bit behind on our recording schedule the last couple months. But when we look back, we did a pretty good job in 2020.
We did a lot in 2020. and
compared to before,
I was
right?
gonna say, I don't remember what the stats were for the year before. But we recorded and released 22 regular episodes this year. Which is, that's at least 2 a month, or just about 2 a month.
Insert cheesy applause here.
It's a lot. And then on top of that, we also had 20 bonus episodes. So in reality, we did 42 episodes this year.
Right. And we won't, for sake of accountability. Oh, go ahead.
I think we had around 11 the year before, 10, because we were trying to do 1 a month, but we didn't quite make it.
Yeah, that's right. And so we upped it by 4 times.
Yeah, like double and change. And because we're all recovering addicts, so we always get like really want to be really, really honest. So a lot of our bonus content was not like a full brand new episode, but it was like with Skinner, after we did the Q&A episode, we spent another like 30 or 45 minutes just picking his brain. So a lot of our bonus content was additional with the stories and
I
some
will say, as far
stuff.
as the work that goes into it, though, it's a little easier to do a bonus episode than it is to a regular one, but it's also about the same.
It's still a lot of editing for Jason.
That's just my recovery self saying, like, I want to be really honest. I don't want to feel like we're like padding our stats, but that's all. But good work, Jason and everybody, for the time putting that in. Some pretty cool stuff, right? So if you haven't had a chance to listen to the bonus content, that is you just have to become an outsider. So Chris, how do people become an outsider, and what's that whole thing about?
They become an outsider by donating one way or another, and they go to unashamedunafraid.com/donate.
I got you back.
Thanks. /donate. It's so important for us to be able to keep this moving forward, and we love what we're able to do for these people in providing so many scholarships for people. And you also get some amazing bonus content that you're able to listen to, and each of the stories that we have that we put up, you get additional information on top of that go into some deeper questions, some harder questions, and we love that we can provide that for everybody out there as well.
And we have the coolest outsiders. I just want to shout out our outsiders right now. These people are, whatever term you want to use, legit, hard.
How about bold, accepted,
Gorilla?
and unashamed?
How about bold, accepted, and unashamed? For real. So our outsiders, and it's amazing kind of some of the cool things that they've just done this year and participated. You know, they've just told us of certain things that they've done in their own recovery communities and doing stuff, and both men and women in our outsiders group, and very, very cool for sure. So talking about the nonprofit thing, so I'm going to turn it over to Cory here. But yeah, so we officially this year, 501c3 became nonprofit status. So we are actually incorporated as a nonprofit now. And we did that because we wanted to give back in a bigger way. And so Cory, we're a nonprofit now, man. Tell us what happened in 2020.
So in 2020, because of those awesome outsiders that you referred to, and some that were not outsiders but helped donate, we brought in approximately $10,000 this year. And just a reminder, each of us that's here and part of the team, we volunteer our time. So all of those monies go towards setting up the nonprofit. They go to, more importantly, the scholarships that we're able to award. And with those scholarships this year in particular, we were able to award 6 scholarships, 2 to the women's event, Heart of a Woman, and 4 to the men's Warrior Heart event. Now, as most of us know, that event was postponed due to COVID, but those individuals are anticipating being able to go at a future date. Hopefully spring of 2021 is the plan. Mm-hmm. In addition to those scholarships, we also have individual and couples therapy, and as well as a Lifestar Phase 1 scholarship. So we are grateful for those outsiders and those individuals who donate. It's paying it forward. It's practicing step 12. It's serving. It's sharing hope. It's beautiful to see others doing what they can so that someone else can find hope and healing through the process.
Yeah, and I feel a little bit bad. Cory talked about this earlier, but I was like, so you have to keep all of our books, and that's kind of annoying. That's the boring part, but Jason's editing a lot of audio, and see, we all have a boring part of the job. I said, but the fun part for you is you get to talk to everyone who wins the scholarships. You could be the guy to call them and say, hey, you won this scholarship, which you've talked about that amazing experience. But then also the flip side of that is, with those who did not receive scholarships, potential situations, which we had happen this year. And that's tough. So I feel like I kind of cloak and daggered you a little bit on that one, because I only told you about the fun side, right? And not having to hold some of those other stories. So appreciate you.
And that's where the humility came in. Counting the money and handling that portion doesn't take a lot of humility. It takes some honesty. But definitely seeing the submissions of those who are either suffering from trauma because of addiction, or those who are still steeped in addiction. it's incredible to read those stories and know that everybody that's here on the podcast, as well as those who listen, are looking for a way to help. It's wonderful to see those each month. We add new outsiders, and as we've talked about on the podcast, it doesn't matter if that donation is $1. Doesn't matter if it's $10, $100, whether it's monthly or annually. You get to become an outsider and receive that bonus content. So we appreciate the donation, no matter what the amount. So thank you.
Yeah, and I want you passed over one thing, you brought it up, but I want to make sure it's clear. So no one gets paid outside of equipment, paying for the website, paying for hosting the no one here gets paid. So we don't outsource our audio getting edited. Jason literally grinds and edits it. We don't outsource social media or any of our photography things or any of that. Sway and Rachel do that. So we haven't hired a secretary or person to keep our schedule or any of that. James literally does that. And so if you want to know where all the money went and see it, it'll be on our webpage. Obviously, we got to wait, I guess this is coming out in January, so it's probably there depending on when we file our taxes. But so it will all be there. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who's donated, and do know it has made a significant difference. And outsiders, you'll be getting some information on that and see that. So the other thing, we also were able to do kind of a cool event this year. So Chris, why don't you tell us about that? That was your baby. We were talking about doing a live event at some point in time, and then COVID happened, and I was like, well, I don't know. And then Chris, the Hulk of Hope, you rallied us. So
I suggested that we do a live event with live Q&A so that everybody can even get to know us, and we could answer some of those questions that were submitted prior to the actual event. And then we actually answered some questions that were submitted during the event as well. So it was really cool to be able to have, Autumn was there with us, and Sway and Rachel, and we were able to answer some really tough questions. And it was fun to be able to do that. And I think a lot of people resonated with that. We got a lot of response back from people saying, thank you so much for doing this. It was really good. It was cool to see for them. It was really cool for them to see us. We couldn't see anybody else, but they said it was cool to see us. We're not that awesome to look at, but hey, it worked.
Yeah, it was really fun. I know Rachel and I really enjoyed that, and we we got a lot out of it, and so I'm glad everybody else did. It was just a really great experience and humbling as well.
I think we'll definitely do it again sometime this year, maybe once or twice. That we'll do it this year because it was just such a successful event, and I think if we even give it a little bit more lead time, I think it will even have more people that will be able to show up and be able to.
Well, I thought a week was appropriate lead time in online marketing. Is that not
for everyone in quarantine? I think that was probably okay.
Did I miss
for having a week
off?
What else do I have going on?
Sway's over there like he's so lucky I'm here.
Yeah, no, a week is good.
We had a lot of people on there for
but usually
just a
you
week
plan
notice.
For about 3 months beforehand instead of, hey team, we're going to do this next week.
You're the man, Sway. We're lucky you're here.
Maybe we could have a cardboard cutout of people who are not in Utah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I love it.
I like that. CT's going to ship us cardboard cutout
with the speaker in the mouthpiece. So
yeah, but then can we do it like with a puppet voice? Be like, yeah, I'm CT. What I'd say about recovery is. So one other thing that I want to bring up, because I think the live Q&A connected this, is I just got an email today from a woman looking for some resources and help in a really tough spot. And she started her email by saying, hey, Stephen, I don't know if you actually get this. Yes, we actually get them. So if you email any person on this team, they will email you back. If you ask them to pray for you, they will pray for you. I'm getting a lot of head nods. And so I had the opportunity this year to sit in on a Zoom meeting of someone doing their first step inventory. And in that first step inventory, CT, if your heart is pounding, it should be. I heard this man talk about CT reaching out to him and praying for him, that it literally saved his life. And so I just want to give CT a huge shout out for how he battles for men's hearts, and we all do. And so this is not the reason that all of us do this for free. I don't ever have to talk any member of this team into doing anything for Unashamed. Everyone does it because it is a part of who they are and their ministry. I had an opportunity to be down in Arizona at the beginning of this year to watch Cory and his wife facilitate a meeting and have everyone there know them by name and just see the influence that they're having in their community. And so if you're down in Arizona, send Cory an email. He'll pray for you. He's there and anywhere. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's our biggest message that we would want to have is, we're here for you. And that's the goal. Our purpose is to help everyone be unashamed about sexual addiction recovery and unafraid of coming into Christ for healing. And that's not just those who struggle with addiction. That's family members, the betrayed spouses. Obviously, we speak from the I. So for 7 of the 8 of us, it's from the addict perspective, right? But that's like the biggest thing for us. So we hope you know, whether you're just listening, whether you're an outsider, we love you. And if you are struggling with addiction or trauma, we're sorry. And we're happy to pray for you and be here and be a resource for you. So reach out to us, let us know. And with that, I just, before you give everyone kind of final word, James, what's in store for 2021?
Well, in 2021, we are going to we'll have some new bonus content that will focus. We will have a kind of a book club or book report or book review for some of our bonus content. It's not completely fleshed out right now, but we're kind of thinking probably quarterly do a book review to give everybody a couple of months to read the book, and then we can talk about it on the episodes. We have some books in mind. Do we want to bring those up right now?
Yeah, you can throw a couple them out there, a little sprinkle, a little tease.
Okay. So we know that one of them is going to be Fathered by God.
Yes, sir. Fall up to Wild at Heart.
Yep. And we know that one has got to be No More Mr. Nice Guy.
Yes, sir.
That's
I think every addict needs to listen to that book or read that book.
Yeah,
correct.
Agreed.
multiple times.
Correct.
Yeah. Annually. It's a good one. Some other books that got thrown out there. We had, what's the one you said, Chris?
Becoming a King.
Becoming a King.
Treating sexual addiction, Dr. Skinner's book.
Yes, Dr. Skinner's book, yeah. I was considering maybe Unwanted.
Unwanted's a great one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll throw we'll have another episode when we
So if anyone's saying,
those.
why didn't you say Wild at Heart? Part of this conversation has been we don't want to do the books that we think you already totally know about.
Right.
So we want to look at some books that are potentially on a little bit on the outside there. May or may not be getting a couple authors. We'll see how that goes. But no promises, but maybes.
Yeah.
No promises, but maybes. That's a good addict statement right there. Right? Yeah. What else, James?
Well, we should have a lot more scholarships happen because we can actually hopefully start attending events. So we have scholarships that are awarded that the people haven't been able to take advantage of them yet. And so hopefully next year we'll start to see a lot of those to be taken advantage of. Just from my perspective, being able to be up at the women's retreat and meet the 2 women who were able to attend from the scholarship, it's so just touching and humbling to meet these women and to the sense of gratitude that they have for the outsiders and for being able to attend something that they wouldn't have been able to afford to attend otherwise. I can tell you that outsiders, these scholarships, they change people's lives. and the gratitude, the humility. It's immeasurable, truly. So
It's really cool to hear their stories of what it was like for them before and how they saw God before they went to the retreat and boot camp, and then what it was like for them after.
Right. It's much like the experience you and I had, and most of us had at boot camp. It's just completely
life-changing.
Yeah, it changes. For me, the phrase I always use, it changed the spiritual trajectory of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone, final word, one sentence. Your goal.
Can I throw something in before we do that?
I guess.
Yes. Okay. So, I just want to encourage everybody that's listening to share this with others. We sat around before we started recording today, and just realizing how much of an impact this is making on people, because often we think, are we making an impact? Right? Everybody, I think everybody in this room.
Satan attacks me with that all the time.
Yeah. Are we even, is anything happening?
Yeah.
And, man, I mean, just this week, somebody was in my 12-step group because of an episode that he listened to. And, every time something small like that happens, it just,
something big like that.
yeah, it is big. It just makes my heart so full, and I just get so excited about it. So you can be part of that too.
Send Sway an email. Yeah, reach out to us. We're here.
Send everybody, any of us, an email, and we're here, and we, share this with others, because in that way you can also be part of that work.
So one of the things that we talk about is, are we even making a difference at all? And then we get an amazing email from like one of the anonymous emails that come through. And one of them that we got recently, which just says, "Hey, Unashamed Unafraid, I'm a huge fan of your podcast, and I've been binge listening to your show for about the last 2 months. I've learned so many things about addiction and betrayal trauma, and I'm forever grateful for this resource." So we get stuff like that all the time, where they just start pouring their heart out to us. And it's so beautiful to see that, to hear that, to know that we are making a difference, that they are listening to us. And it's not just, obviously not just addicts that are listening to us. It's spouses of addicts and people that are in betrayal trauma. They listen to this as well, because we have so many different resources on here that it just helps everybody with understanding the addict self and understanding stories, hearing stories of inspiration and hope. And that's why we're doing what we're doing, is just so we can help other people. And so that's why I love to hear and see those things as it comes through. And another one that came in from one of the emails says, "Also, I just wanted to say thank you for what you are doing. Simply by providing an outlet to talk and discuss these issues has been incredibly healing for me and many others. As Mr. Rogers says, if it is mentionable, it is manageable. This is a struggle that affects everyone in one way or another. We are all in this together, and the ability to share resources and support is unquantifiable, but immense."
So one sentence for your 2020, for your recovery and your growth from where you're at today. We're recording this in December. And so for 2020, one sentence about where you're going to go in your recovery, right? Your healing journey, your relationship with God.
Long-term recovery is real. It's attainable. And it very well can happen.
Yeah.
I'll go. There are no shortcuts.
Mm-hmm.
That is from Becoming a King. So, but that's just something that has stuck with me all year long. There are no shortcuts. Take it one step at a time, and it's okay for it to take the time that it takes. Let God work.
Mm-hmm.
Through small and simple things, big things actually do happen. That's what I really learned this year, is that just reaching out to brothers and other people, it was a little bit more difficult, but just a phone call is actually not that difficult to make. And it impacts people immensely. It's bigger than anybody could ever imagine.
I'll say this. So this was pretty much the worst year and best year of my life.
Knowing you, that makes sense.
In a lot of ways. And so when we say like unafraid of coming unto Christ for healing, I think that there's I think that we need to acknowledge that that's scary for more than one reason. And so I think in our walk with God, and speaking from the eye here, it's really just about that. My walk with God this coming year is going to be one of just overcoming fear, moving forward with Him.
For me, just community, brotherhood, a move out of isolation, and just continuing to grow the community and brotherhood. It's been I feel like that's one step that me and so many other guys have missed in their recovery is they do all of the other things, but they still try to do it alone, and they remain mostly isolated. And it's being with guys like you at a deep soul level where, like, you guys know me, you see me, and I know you, and I love you so much. And just the brotherhood that I feel toward you guys has changed me so much, and I know will continue to do so.
Cory?
For me, pride has no place in the process. It's something I'm continuing to work on. The other part is outsiders. Thank you. Let's do this. 2021.
And for me, I feel a lot happened for me this year, like a ton.
You've been a little busy.
A little bit, yeah.
I noticed.
We all noticed.
I think you all did notice. Yeah. But just a lot happened. A lot of healing for me personally. In our coming episodes in time, you'll hear me talk a lot about a place in Tennessee called Onsite, where they do therapy intensives. And I did a program there earlier this year for myself, right, doing my own trauma healing. That God led me there, changed my life. I came home and told James and these guys, I'm like, it's like boot camp times 10. And James was like, is it one of those things that I have to do? And I'm like, yes. Like in the next 5 years, everyone on the Unashamed team will go do a program at Onsite. So huge personal growth, and then also a big transition for me this year. So not only did I get licensed as a therapist, but I also moved full time to that practice from previously working in real estate. And so for me, 2020, when people are like, COVID changed the whole world, I'm like, well, my whole world changed during COVID. So yeah. But just gratitude for, I really took a huge leap this spring. And I was like, you know what, God, I talk a lot about larger story, and the amount of risk you take will, reflect how you feel about God, and all the things that we say, your worth is set, right? Everything else is just an experience. And I feel like this year more than ever, I put my life in His hands and was like, okay, like if you're God of miracles, let's do it. And that has richly blessed me. And so I think if I were to talk about 2021, I just think of expansion. I'll call these guys at random times and be like, ideas, and we could do this and this, and we could reach people. So 2021, we will be having some expansion. We're here for you personally. If you need anything, reach out to us. All of our names at Unashamed Unafraid. Yes, we do get those emails, and we will respond.
Submit those anonymous questions on there.
Submit anonymous questions. If you have a great recovery story, you're an expert, your heart's leading you to say, hey, I should come on the podcast. Come on, come share your Unashamed recovery community with us. If you have the capacity to donate on any level, whether whether it's $1, $5, or thousands of dollars, it all makes a huge difference. The outsiders see a lot of that come back and dialogue around that, and that makes a huge difference to truly be able to help other people in that way. More episodes, more bonus, live events, more stuff on social. We're doing some other small giveaways that are going to happen this year on social of some different things, recovery tools. You guys are awesome. I wanted to end this episode. As everyone knows, I listen to a ton of Christian rap music. There's a song by KB, and the lyrics are, they say that millennials are leaving God. And then he laughs and says, they really got to meet the squad. And as soon as I heard that, I sent it to these 8 people because although Chris and James are maybe a little older than millennials, Corey, don't worry. Corey just blocked the screen so we wouldn't. But just like anyone in here leaving God, I can tell you that some real warriors here, and so grateful for these men. Get an opportunity to get to know them, and Rachel, reach out to all of them. They're incredible people, and they're willing, and so we ain't going anywhere. And if I were to pick a song, does anyone else have a song, or am I picking a song?
Or are we doing our own songs?
I figured you...
Are we all doing a song?
I figured you had your song was going to be God Taught Me.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Like, that's been listened to more by you this year than any other song.
That's what Spotify told me. So also I'm going to give a shout out to Lecrae's newest album, Whole Thing. I won't point out a single song, but several of them, but listen to the whole thing. But yes, I do God Taught Me. So one song rolling you into 2021. Ready, go.
Just Be Held, Casting Crowns.
Mine is Truth Be Told by Matthew West. And what's funny is Autumn can hear our conversations here, and she just texted me. She's, I'll do the one by Matthew West. And that was what I actually had sitting on my screen right here. Truth Be Told by Matthew West.
She knows you.
For me, is
Never Give Up by Matthew West.
I love that one, CT.
I think the one for me is I'm Listening by Chris McClarney.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I don't know that one. I'll look that one up. Okay.
Mine is From Now On, Zach Brown Band from the Greatest Showman soundtrack.
I'm also going to go with the Casting Crowns. Does anybody hear her?
Casting Crowns, What If I Gave Everything?
You only get one, James.
Yeah.
One song for 2021.
We could just keep going on.
I know, we could go
naming songs.
Good song.
Good song.
choice.
Good song.
Great.
Give us 5 stars on iTunes. That is how the world finds us. We hope that you will save us in for what's coming out this year. We have some awesome stuff coming out. We invite you to donate, become an outsider. Our bold, accepted, and unashamed folks, which they truly are. Reach out to us if you have anonymous questions. Ask, follow us on social media at Unashamed Unafraid on Facebook and Instagram. And when they ask me what I'm doing, James...
God Taught Me.
Jason, if they ask us why we're winning.
I said God taught me.
And Chris, if they ask us why we're different.
God Taught Me.
Ooh, it's our time to get it. God taught me. Until next time, we'll leave you with that song. So if you hate rap music, I'm sorry. And the episode now, but it's a good song. And until we get to be with you again, remain unashamed and unafraid.
When they ask me how I did it, I say God taught me. When they ask me how I'm winning, I say God taught me. When they ask me why I'm different, I say God taught me. This my time to get it. God taught me. When they ask me how I did it, I say God taught me. When they ask me how I'm winning, I say God taught me. When they ask me why I'm different, I say God taught me. This my time to get it. God taught me. I have never made a song that I do not like. People always changing colors like a stoplight. I'ma call you lefty cause I know you not right. If you thought I was done, you should learn from Saint Nick and check twice. Ask me how I got here, I say God brought me. Ask me who this power from, it's gone on me. Every step I'm taking, I know God got me. I learn from the best. You say God taught me. When they ask me how I'm winning, I say God taught me. When they ask me why I'm different, I say God taught me. This my time to get it. God taught me. When they ask me how I did it, I say God taught me. When they ask me how I'm winning, I say God taught me. When they ask me why I'm different, I say God taught me. This my time to get it. God taught me. See me on the way when I walk like this, sauce like this. I'm a boss, I guess. God knows I'm blessed. Go to the bank and I cash that check. Guess what's next? I'll be the best. Don't get confused, I'm reliable. That's cause I always produce. God chose me, so I don't have to choose. I can live out my dream. Must be the shoes. You don't want to offend anybody, so you tiptoe. You so focused on your balance like you're a flamingo. Enjoy your day off. I don't get those. You thought you could slow me down. Well, I don't think so. Speak, don't fly straight. If you don't watch your lyrics, you're a lightweight. The truth is out here, but it's hiding. So I make all of this music and they like it. Why you're blowing smoke like it was cannabis? Why are we ignoring what the problem is? This year let's come together, put a stop to this. Long live the revolution, God with us, God with us, God with us, God with us, God with us. When they ask me how I did it, I say God taught me. When they ask me how I'm winning, I say God taught me. When they ask me why I'm different, I say God taught me. This my time to get it. God taught me. When they ask me how I did it, I say God taught me.